All right, guys. So when it comes to the left, when it comes to the super woke revolutionary liberals, the most hated man in America right now is probably the former president. But the second most hated man in America right now, besides former President Donald Trump, is Josh Hawley. And the reason why they dislike Josh Hawley is because they see him as a more politically savvy version of Trump. Okay? I mean, this guy has the Ivy League pedigree while also being able to be in touch with the common man and be able to speak to the little guy. He's taken on a fight against big tech and censorship, and he has vehemently defended our rights to free speech while at the same time being a staunch conservative who understands the right time to mix in populism when needed, right? That, to the liberals, is a very, very, very dangerous man, okay? And that's part of the reason why they're really coming after him so hard, because they know that he is a top contender in 2024 if he chooses to run. However, it looks like, at least for right now, he's telling people that he is not going to run in 2024. Now, obviously, to me, I'm sad and disappointed to hear this because, I obviously, from a policy perspective, I really like Josh Hawley. And I was hoping that he would run. And I think that at least before the Capitol incident, which, again, I condemn 100%, just so YouTube is clear. I don't condone violence. And guys, I'm sorry. I just have to make it clear for YouTube that I do not condone violence, right? But I thought before that incident that Josh Hawley, definitely outside of, President Trump, of course, was the front runner in 2024, right? He's probably up there with Ron DeSantis and Kristi Noem and, all those folks. And probably later this week, I'll release a tier list of my top 2024 candidates before this impeachment trial. But yeah, he was a top candidate, right? So him coming out and saying that, he probably is going to stay in the Senate and he's not going to run is a little bit of a Debbie Downer, but I understand exactly where he's coming from here. I think there is a lot of work to be done in the Senate, and I think the Senate definitely needs new leadership, right? Where you got people like Mitch McConnell in the old guard with the Romneys of the world, in the Pat Toomey's, etc., on the way out, hopefully pretty soon. You need fresh, new, young blood. I believe Josh Hawley is the youngest Republican senator, I believe, and somebody like him who understands the power of populism, I think can bring a lot of much needed leadership to the Republican Senate. So I'm not super disappointed that he's not running in 2024 because I do understand that he is needed in the Senate. But at the same time, I thought it'd be a good time to kind of take a look at what, he plans to do and how he plans to fight moving forward in the future, especially considering how the Democrats have basically came out and tried to cancel him. Obviously, he lost a book deal, but he got it back with another publisher. Let's take a look at what he has to say.
I mean, it just keeps going on. You lost donors. You lost the book deal. What do you believe is at the root of all of this?
Well, it's a desire by the left to try and silence all opposition. They talk about unity now. Joe Biden talks about unity. They don't want unity. They want control. They want total and complete control, and they want to eliminate all opposition. They want to shut it down, silence anybody, any speech that they don't agree with. And Maria, we've just got to stand up and say no to that. I mean, the First Amendment is something that all Americans believe in. It's where we've got to take our stand. And those of us who have voices have to be strong and stand up and speak and say, we're not going to bow down to the mob. This is about American democracy, the right of free speech. And I can tell you, I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm not going to be silenced. And I'm not going to back down.
Independent journalist and Pulitzer Prize winner Glenn Greenwald joined me on Sunday. Listen to his take. Got to get your take on this.
And it's really not being led by Silicon Valley. This obligation, which they would prefer not to have to exercise because they'd rather have as many people as possible on their platforms, is really being foisted upon them by a public and a Democratic Party and a bunch of liberal media outlets like the New York Times and CNN and NBC News who demand over and over that they censor more and not less.
So do you think it is coming from the Democratic Party?
I think there definitely is an alliance between the left and the woke capitalists, between big business, big tech, and the left. I mean, basically.
All right, I got to stop here for a second because that's important. And I've been telling you guys in a lot of my videos that what's happening right now with this censorship is woke capitalism, okay? What's happening is that you have the establishment, right, media such as MSNBC, CNN, all these guys that are losing, right? They're losing the war on media, right? Particularly with alt media, okay? And because of that, they are calling for more censorship because more censorship benefits them, okay? Guys, this is no secret. There are people that are bigger on YouTube than daytime CNN. I'm pretty sure Steven Crowder is bigger than anybody on daytime CNN, okay? And they don't like that, right? They don't like that. Now, they are also aligned with the Democrat Party and the Democratic establishment who benefits from this censorship as well, because that way people can only hear their views and that they can control the narrative. So the Democratic establishment and the media kind of work together hand in hand in order to push the narrative. Now, Fox News and the Republican Party obviously work together to push their narrative, but they're not overt about trying to censor their competition, right? Like they're not trying to kick out OAN and Newsmax, right? They're just like, well, we'll just compete, right? We'll hire Kayleigh McEnany and we'll just pull people back over here. That's Fox News, right? On the other hand, CNN, MSNBC, they want to censor their competition. They don't want to compete. They want to censor. So they're trying to drive public opinion on these topics, which in turn is forcing big tech, who really, you know, from a monetary, just pure capitalism standpoint, doesn't really want to censor people like that. They want as many people as they can on their platforms because that's how they make money, right? You get as many eyes on ads as possible. That's the simple goal. However, when you have the public on a certain side, right, and the public is the people that, you know, buy from these companies that put these ads on social media, that's how you have these social media companies start to become influenced by the establishment left, particularly establishment left, because there are some people on the far left that are censored as well, right? And obviously nobody condones direct threats of violence or any type of speech like that. Nobody condones that. However, you know, it's important to acknowledge that the slope is so slippery that it's getting to the point that anything outside of the establishment narrative is being counted as extreme speech. So I think Josh Hawley has a lot of work to do in the Senate in order to try to fight this. And I think that he's the guy for it because he's young enough to understand, you know, how this all works and to really come up with a solution for this problem. And I don't think the old guys in the Senate are particularly concerned about this problem. I don't think McConnell's concerned about it. I don't think any of those guys are concerned about it. Josh Hawley being a young guy, you know, I think that, you know, he's in a prime position where he can really understand this issue and really try to tackle it. So that's why I don't really have a problem with him staying in the Senate.
We have a bunch of corporate liberals now, Maria, who run the Democratic Party. They love big business because they can control big business. And just look, we're seeing it right now. We've seen it in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Big business kicking people off social media, telling folks that they can't fly, telling folks that they're not welcome to speak, denying them access to venues. I mean, this is becoming more and more common. This is why we've got to stand up and say, I'm not going to bow down to the corporate mob. I'm not going to bow down to the woke mob. And we've got to challenge it.
Yeah, I had, right around the election, I had 1 million followers on Twitter. Now I have under 900,000. Really, I mean, literally, in a couple of weeks.
I must say, what's going on with Maria Bartiromo, right? Now, this went out of it, but she looking like she having a bad hair day. She just finished crying. I don't know what's going on with Maria Bartiromo, but she was definitely on something in this interview.
I don't know what's going on there, but there's this whole other program now, Birdwatch, that Twitter comes out with, where this enables users to comment on people's posts. It's sort of like Wikipedia, and Wikipedia could not be more false. You go on Wikipedia, it's all users putting whatever they want on other users. You've got, they put Parler out of business, and of course, that on top of all of the bans, banning President Trump, you still have the Ayatollah Khomeini there on Twitter.
Yeah, this new Birdwatch thing is basically just giving a license to the woke leftists who basically run Twitter already, giving them license to comment and run people off the platform who they don't like. But just to go back to a second, Silicon Valley here is totally complicit. Let's be clear about this. It's not as if they don't want to do this. They do want to control speech in America. They 100% want to control speech in America, and the Democrat Party 100% wants them to control speech in America. Yeah. That's why we've got this alliance. The left and big corporations, they want to silence any kind of speech they disagree with, and we've got to say no.
What are you going to do about it in terms of Section 230? You know, anybody can get sued if something is in the newspaper, on TV, that is wrong, and yet they can just spew out hate and have all of this, you know, inaccuracy on their, you know, platform, and they are not liable. They can't get sued. You're in the minority. Will you ever be able to overturn Section 230?
I think we've got to repeal it. I think there's no doubt about it. Section 230 right now is a huge giveaway to these big tech corporations, the most powerful corporations in the history of the world. And the U.S. government is giving them special deals, and the Democrats are all for it. We've got to repeal it. We've got to hold them accountable. We've got to give everyday citizens, you're exactly right, Maria, the ability to go to court. I mean, if you get discriminated against, you ought to have your day in court against these big tech companies.
Right.
Right now, they're protected, and we've got to change that. So I'm going to fight to repeal it and hold them accountable.
Yeah, so that's Josh Hawley basically addressing Section 230 and, you know, how he's going to try to continue to fight against big tech in the Senate. So I think that that's kind of his role right now, right? Considering that he's facing the brunt of the woke mob and the censorship essentially from the left and social media. This is definitely his battle, right? And I think that he's well equipped to fight it. So I'm just hoping that he can, you know, kind of turn things around for turning things around for himself in terms of, you know, public opinion, and, you know, kind of get on track to eventually taking a major leadership role in the Republican Party. So again, I'm disappointed he's not running in 2024, but you know, I think he does have a role in the Senate moving forward, and I think he does need to focus on that. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.